Erica, thank you so much for being here today. We're so excited to have you and get to interview you. I would love if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, thanks for having me today. I am Erica Hoke. I call myself the infertile mom of four because at age 35, I was told that I had a 1% chance of getting pregnant and that I would need donor eggs. I was not a candidate for IVF because I had diminished ovarian reserve, and I just kicked back against the system and refused to accept that as however you choose to view it, as a diagnosis or a prognosis, and started researching like crazy what affects your fertility. And through that process, instituted traditional Chinese medicine into my life, as well as diet and lifestyle changes. And I don't think that it's any spoiler that I have four healthy sons. The last was born 7 years after I was given that diagnosis from my doctors. So I am just really passionate about sharing my story to provide hope for other women who are in this whatever stage of infertility and looking for answers for their own situations. I don't think that I think that my children are miracles. I think that all children are miracles, but I don't think that my situation is so unique that the changes that I made are not applicable to a wide variety of women.
Love that. What is your book about?
So, infertility success, help and stories of help and hope for your journey is a collaboration anthology style book of 20 women's stories of their journey through infertility. And they are as varied as can be. Some people, like myself, used a very holistic, natural approach, and there are women who contributed to the book their journey to donor eggs. There are other people with other varied stories, but we wanted to normalize what it looks like to take an infertility journey. And we also, the main point of the book wasn't just an outlet for us to tell our stories. We really, all of us said, if we only helped one woman during the course of writing this book, if it only helped one person, that we would do the project all over again. So the book is pretty unique in that it's both cautionary tale and it's a highlight of 2020 vision, so to speak. So what we wish we had done at this point had we known what we know now. So all through each of the chapters, there are tips peppered in, like, hey, stop here. This is a question I really wish I would have asked at this point in my journey, because it would have saved me time and money and heartache if I had known this in hindsight. So it is each woman's personal experience, but it's told from the lens of help and support for women who are in similar circumstances.
I love that. I really do. What inspired you to write the book?
Well, I think that so many women in the infertility space feel hopeless when they are told what I'm told. Um, I very easily could have walked out of that doctor's office and could have curled up into a ball in a corner and never come out of that black hole. There are plenty of women that do that, and rightfully so. The infertility space and going through infertility is one of the most brutal experiences that anybody that's gone through it would say that anybody goes through in their lifetime or could go through in their lifetime. And so I wanted to share my story to help people not feel so alone in that, and also to know that they have a lot that's in their control. I think that there is a lot of misperception of, if the doctor can't fix me, I'm not fixable. And that's simply not true. I'm not anti medicine. I had a lot of surgeries. I had 7 different diagnoses along the way, which is a whole separate topic. But I there's a place for medicine, but there's a lot of personal responsibility that comes into taking care of your healthcare. And they practice medicine. There's a certain protocol that they follow. They're not nutritionists. They're not stress management. They're not anything. They're going to give you the pills or shots to produce the result that they're trying to get. And so, what we're trying to show people is that is one path. And if that can't be a path for you, what would you do? And if that can't be a path for you because of financial or in some cases religious reasons, what would you do? And what can you do? What is in your control? What hope do you have? And there's a lot. There's a lot of hope to be had out there. There's a lot of really profound, great experiences and great outcomes.
Amazing. When you were writing your book, who were you thinking of when it comes to who the book is really for?
The book is for any woman who is experiencing hopelessness and infertility. Um, it is definitely written from a standpoint. Each of the chapters is written um, to inspire hope and to provide support. Um, the other unique thing about the book is each of the chapters provides a way through QR code to connect with each individual author of that chapter. So if you find yourself really connected to that woman's story, you can reach out to her. She has each author provided support materials um, related to her chapters. Some of them are checklists for testing, some of them are just a variety of different tools. But we wanted to really personalize this experience for the reader. And if they felt connected to that author, to be able to connect them. So the women we were writing for was ourselves back then, right? Each author wrote in hindsight what they wished somebody would have told them along the way.
Amazing. So I'm going to go a little off script. I usually just stick to our questions, but I actually went through infertility myself.
Oh
And
wow.
so I will say that my journey was definitely different from everyone else I've heard. So everyone's journey is going to be different. And it's definitely my own experience is I went through the stages of grief when I found out I was pregnant because I didn't think it was possible. So don't beat yourself up on your emotions throughout it is one thing I will say to anyone who's going through it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I actually do a 12-week boot camp, and a lot of what the course focuses on is positive self talk, emotional rendering, I guess is the right word for it, so that throughout the month, depending on what stage you are in your cycle, what week you are in your cycle, there's tools and support for you emotionally. Because if you can't cope, you can't continue. And that's what I see so much of in my clients is the the lack of attention paid to your emotional well-being during the process. Every time you go through a cycle, as you know, and you're not pregnant, you it's like a death. And people might dismiss that as not being a real thing or not being legitimate. But I can tell you that, and you can share your thoughts on this, but I haven't met anybody that's gone through infertility that feels much different than that, that it's like a death every single month that you're not pregnant. And so um we really try to support that um, emotional clearing, not in a hoodoo voodoo way, but addressing your emotions. Because eventually, if you keep stuffing that 800-pound gorilla back into the cage, he's going to come out. And if it's okay, I'd like to just say where that's led us. Collectively, the authors, a lot of us had PTSD after our infertility journey. And that is something, as a lot of people know or may not know, infertility is a very much typically a type A personality. And so we go through this journey of infertility, and then we get pregnant like you did, and there's some emotional baggage associated with that. And people meaning family members and friends, that it's like waving a magic wand. That pregnancy is like waving a magic wand that clears all the pain away, that clears all the anxiety away. You've got what you want, and it doesn't stop when the baby gets here. And there's a lot of postpartum mood disorder, postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety from the fallout from infertility. So I actually have another project coming out in 2023 called Infertility Success to Total Mess. And we're addressing through our stories the postpartum PTSD fallout from having a child after infertility. Because the whole time you're pregnant, you think that you're going to miscarry. And the whole time you're delivering, you think that the baby's going to die. And the whole time in the newborn stage, you're a wreck. So it's it's a really difficult space because again, we've got what we wanted, right? And nobody can understand why we're hysterical and losing our minds over what's going on in our life. And motherhood is hard enough. Sorry, I'm rambling on a little bit, but motherhood is hard enough, and it's just not normalized that motherhood after infertility is so hard. There's no space for you to have a normal range of emotions of fear and anxiety and all those things. So I'll take a breath on that note.
No, you're totally good. I love that because everyone's pregnancy is even different. Just like I had infertility, I had hyperemesis gravidium right throughout the pregnancy. So I didn't have a typical pregnancy at all. So I definitely understand where you're coming from, especially with emotions, because a lot of people feel like they failed. They feel like, I have postpartum depression, something's wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. A lot of people have that. And just if you ask for help, you're super strong. Like getting the help you need, there's nothing wrong with you for doing that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And again, just trying to normalize it through this other project because so many of us felt like again, it was like that magic wand was waved and our feelings were dismissed as far as what we were experiencing in our early motherhood challenges.
Love that. How long have you been writing and what made you really sit down and start to write?
Mm, that's a very interesting question. I was a creative writing major in college, and uh, my degree's in English, but the focus was creative writing. And I never was instilled with the confidence that I would be able to actually publish a work or publish, um, never in my wildest dreams. Um, and I through some business mentoring, met a woman who was writing her own books. She was an adoptee and she was writing her own story, and she kind of paved the way for me to be able to see that it was possible to be able to get my story out there. And I wanted to be able to do that for other women. So my story is one thing, but when you see 20 women's stories collectively, it's so powerful to inspire that hope and to be able to connect with one of those 20 women. They were all selected for a reason because of the variety of stories um, in there. And it was a very humbling experience to be able to provide myself the opportunity, but be able to provide these other women the opportunity through collaboration, through sharing the expense of the publication to be able to get the book to market. Did I answer your question? I might have gotten a little sidetracked.
That definitely works. And this one is one we usually ask authors, and maybe it can pertain more to back when you were in your degree. What is your schedule like when you are writing a book?
Yeah, I because these are chapters, and this was one of the benefits of writing the chapters for the women, is writing a book's still very daunting to me. I'm going to be honest. I got the privilege of publishing this book, and that has a whole different set of skills or whatever associated with it, timing and that sort of thing, management. It's pretty daunting for most people think about sitting down and writing a book. But if I tell them you can share your story and change somebody's life in 3,000 words, then they can do that. I can do that. And so I look at these projects as dipping a toe and providing women the opportunity to do something that they've dreamt of their entire life. Um, so we're all moms, right? That's it. That's no surprise. And so I don't know if I can speak to a writing process. Um, I write when I can, when my kids are sleeping or when they're in school or when they're in activities, and it gets piecemealed together. And I'm just grateful that the opportunity to work with so many of these women, came to me so that we could all share our stories. So many of us were told, "Oh my gosh, you should share your story. You should write a book." And the idea of writing, um, an entire novel about one's own story is pretty overwhelming for most people. So, including myself, honestly.
Very true. I love that. Um, for when you are writing and when you have time, do you need anything to help you stay focused?
I do listen to um some background music. I'm trying to remember the what kind it's called. It's like a calming, anti-anxiety kind of brain waves kind of music, but it's instrumental. So I do find that that really helps center me and helps keeps me focused on my writing.
Amazing. What is your favorite writing snack or drink?
Hmm. Probably hot tea. Probably sit down with a cup of tea and write, kind of sip on that.
What type of books do you personally enjoy reading?
Hmm. I love historical fiction. There's a few authors that I've um, really gotten into some of their series. I go through different uh, different phases of my life where I consume a large quantity of pages and then have other times when I'm not in a book at all, due to the demands of my life. I also really like oh, I hate the term self-help, but um business mindset books, that help you draw out your creative growth, or help you with your growth trajectory as a person and as an entrepreneur. So,
Love that. Are there any books or authors that inspired you to become a writer?
hmm, um, I'm not really sure the answer to that. I have been a voracious reader my entire life. It was very much an escape for me when I was a child. And when I had the opportunity to major in it in college, it seemed like a no brainer. So I don't have one particular author that I'm just um, a follower of or like a super big fan of in terms of style or anything like that.
What type of books did you grow up reading? Did you have an all-time favorite?
I probably would say an all-time favorite book was Little Women, Louisa May Alcott. I read all the series of that books, and I still remember the impact of reading those. I read a lot of Margaret Henry horse books, a lot of the coming of age horse books, and I still remember a lot of those books, even though, clearly I've read a lot of books since then. I still remember a lot of the characters and storylines and that sort of thing. So I think it was probably during a time when I was just learning to read really well, and I started to read a lot and consume a lot of a lot of books is why they stuck with me so long. throughout my life.
That. On the other side of that, now as an adult, do you have any favorite series or authors that if something comes out, you're gonna automatically grab it?
I have followed Ken Follett's series, both the Pillars of the Earth trilogy and the postmodern trilogy that I've read all six of those, and I kind of feel like he's going to bridge those at some point. If you're familiar with the series at all, I think that there'll probably be a bridge book or two in the middle of there. So I would definitely go out of my way to read that.
Uh, What would you tell someone just starting out with reading again?
With reading, I think that you just need to prioritize it. Um, if I really want to consume a book and it's a goal of mine, then breaking it up into page count, goals for weekly goals and that sort of thing, I think is really helpful. Um, I think it's really easy for anyone and everyone to get off track um, when they have a reading goal like that. Um, Life intervenes, and then the other thing that I would say is just keep that book with you. I'm a I don't know what you would call it, holistic. I'm not a Kindle reader. I want the book in my hand. I want to be able to turn the pages. So, um, if you're like me, and that's something that I would just keep the book with me all the time, and I would read every chance that I had to, or on your phone or on your device if you're a Kindle reader. But never got into that electronics.
That. On the other side of that, what would you tell someone just starting to write their own book?
Um, Again, I think that structure belongs in that. If you are really serious about writing your own book, um, and you have a specific genre that you're going for, do the research, find out, average page counts for that genre. Um, there's a lot of tools out there for writers that help you keep track of your characters, keep track of your settings. I would definitely utilize one of those tools. Maybe you can help me with the name of them, Courtney. I can't remember off the top of my head, um, but there's some tools out there that you can purchase that will help you track your characters, setting, place and time and that sort of thing. So I definitely utilize something like that, and just set writing goals for yourself, weekly writing goals. Even if you only feel like you can accomplish 20 pages a week. It's better to do little bites at a time and see that you're making progress versus in your mind have that sticky note where you're constantly it's constantly nagging in the back of your mind, I've got to write, I've got to write, I've got to write. So just if it's 10 pages a week, look at your calendar for the week and set that time aside to get those 10 pages done.
Love that. I can't think of any of the ones off the top of my head, but I do know a lot of people, if you just type it in Google, you can see all the reviews and find different
Yeah.
places. What's one thing people are generally surprised to find out about you?
I think that people are surprised to find out that I'm still kind of a tomboy. Um, I kind of have a wide um, scope of personality. I don't know what else to say, but I like to dress up, makeup, the whole thing. But I also, love adventure type sports and that sort of thing. So I think that if you don't know me, you might think that I was a real, maybe girly girl, but I really like to, I really like to get in nature. One of my favorite things to do is the treetop adventure courses. So
That's amazing. Is there anything you would like to say or add?
I would just say that if you're going through infertility, that know that you're not alone. Find support in the way that suits you best. Some people don't even tell their families, so it's literally just between them and their husband. So whether you have to um, join a support group on Facebook if that's still too public. Find a counselor that is trusted that you can talk to, you know, uh, and connect with one or two friends that you trust. Find some way to connect with somebody outside of your immediate um, partner to have conversations with, to dialogue, to kind of discard the emotions. It's really important not to live in that like hermetically sealed environment where it's just you and your husband and the doctors. Um, even if it's unconventional, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
That. Where's the best place for readers to find your book? I know some readers love signed copies. Is that an option and the best place that they can connect with you?
sure. I would love to send them a signed copy. My books are available on Amazon and on Ingram Sparks. They can also reach me on my website. It's just my first and last name. That's Erica with a C and Hoke, like hope, but with a K, Hoke, ericahoke.com. And if you want a signed copy, we can work that out. Just reach out to me on my DMs on Instagram or through Facebook.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so glad that we got to interview you and you got to share your experience and expertise. We'll be sure to drop those links down in the show notes so everyone can find you. And thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.